Okay, the trinomials we're going to factor are going to be the easy kind right now. So we're going to look at trinomials that have this form. So the form will be x squared plus bx plus c. So it'll be that form. Notice that coefficient of x squared is a 1. So when the coefficient of x squared is a 1, that's the easy kind. So that's the easy one. So you think easy, and then the way you do it will be different than something else that we'll get to. But if it's 1, that's going to be the easy kind. You think easy. Okay? Now before we go on, just let me remind you, because we're going to use the FOIL method to help us with this as well. So one of the things you had to do for tonight was you had to multiply these two binomials. 3x minus 2 times 2x plus 5. So that was one of the things you had to turn in. So when you did this, how'd you multiply these two? What was one method you did? You used FOIL. So 3x times 2x, first times first, FOIL. What's 3x times 2x? 6x squared. The outer was what? That's a 5. 15x. The inner is negative 4x. And what was the last? That's a 5. Negative 2 times 5. Negative 10. Then you did what over here? Combine like terms. And so I got 6x squared. 15x and negative 4x is a positive 11x, and then minus 10, right? So we're going to use that idea when we do these problems. All right, so let's look at the first one. So you can say factor number 1. We're going to start with an easy one. X squared plus 9x plus 18. Now, as we go through this, listen to the words. What's the GCF of this polynomial? 1. Right? 1. Okay, so just like we did with the other ones, how many terms do you see? 3. If there were 4 terms, you try what first? Factor by grouping. Factor by grouping. All right, but this is how many terms? 3. And you see an x squared, right? So you think quadratic, x squared. So then what you're going to do is you're going to do the two binomials now. So you're going to factor this as two binomials. Okay? All right, now listen carefully. This is easy because x squared has what coefficient? 1. All right, so FOIL, F-Y-L. What times what? First times first is x squared. So what goes in here? X and x. Okay? All right, now listen to the rest. So remember when I looked at the last right here, I said negative 2 times a positive 5 was a negative 10? You can do the same thing here. What goes in here, that product needs to be positive 18, right? So I need two numbers. I need two numbers whose product is 18. And when I did the FOIL method, the sum here, the sum had to be that middle term, 11x. So I need two numbers whose product is 18 and whose sum, meaning the outer and the inner, the sum, outer and inner, FOIL, outer and inner, needs to be that middle term, 9. Okay? So can you come up with two numbers, two whole numbers, whose product is 18 and whose sum is 9? 6 and 3. So the answer is 6, 3. Because that product is what? 18, and when I add them up, I get what? 9. So what that means is this. Remember, that's the out and the inner. That's going to be your out and your inner. Your out and inner. So that means that, now and these are both positive 6 and positive 3, right? So you're going to say x plus 6, x plus 3. Nope, does not matter, because remember, multiplication is commutative. The order in which you multiply does not matter. So his question is, could you have said x plus 3 times x plus 6? Yes, that's fine. Now remember that the words I use could only apply if the coefficient of x squared is 1. Now before you go on, always check. Always check. FOIL. There's no reason why you should be missing this, because there's the FOIL method you can check this with. What's x times x? X squared. Let's go to the last. What's a positive 6 and a positive 3? 18. All right, now do the outer and the inner. What's the outer? 3x. What's the inner? When I add them up, what do I get? And that's what you wanted. So there's your answer. Okay, number 2. It's very simple. Number 2. X squared plus 6x minus 16. X squared plus 6x minus 16. GCF is what? 1. Do I have 4 terms? No, so I'm not going to do grouping. But it is quadratic, right? So I'm going to go directly to 2 binomials. All right. Now remember, is this the easy kind? Yes, because x squared has what coefficient? 1. All right. Now let's think FOIL. What times what? First times first gives me x squared. So what needs to be the first term here? X and x. All right. Now let's talk about the last. So these 2 terms here need their product. Their product needs to be a negative 16. So listen to words. What 2 numbers gives me a product of negative 16 and a sum of what? 6. Positive 6. Come up with some numbers that you think, 2 whole numbers.
8, positive 8, negative 2.
Okay, positive 8. Let's try positive 8, negative 2. So you try some things. Positive 8, negative 2. A positive 8 times a negative 2 is a what? Negative 16. A positive 8 plus a negative 2 is a what? Positive 6. I found my 2 numbers. They work. Does it matter where I put the 8 and where I put the negative 2? No. The reason is this now. The reason because the coefficient of x squared is what? 1. And also the fact that these 2 first terms are the same. They're both what? X's. So I can say plus 8 and then what? Minus 2. Before you go on, check. Check it. FOIL method. X times x? X squared. Positive 8 times negative 2? Negative 16. Now let's do the outer and the inner. What's the outer? What's the inner? The outer?
Negative 8. Negative 2.
Negative 2x. What's the inner? When I add them up, what do I get? And that's what you wanted. So there's your answer. Okay, number 3. What if you had this? X squared minus 4x plus 3. X squared minus 4x plus 3. GCF? 1. Coefficient of x squared? 1. Easy kind. 2 binomials. What's going to be the first in both of these? X. All right, now let's talk about what goes here. Give me 2 numbers whose product is what? 3. And whose sum is what? Negative 4. What do y'all think?
4, 1.
4. Okay, he says 4 and 1, right? 4 times 1 is 4. So that's right away. That's not true, because I want the product to be what?
It should be 3 and 1.
It should be 3 and 1. Now let's check it. 3 times 1 is 3. So far I'm good, right? But what's 3 plus 1?
4.
That's not what I wanted.
You want negative 4.
I wanted negative 4. So what do you think I need to do? Say it again.
Negative 3.
Negative 3 and a what? Negative 1. Now positive 1, come on guys, let's think. Some of you said this, right? Let's check it. What's a negative 3 times a positive 1? What's a negative 3 times a positive 1? -3. Is that what I wanted? No, so right away I can cross that out. What's the only thing that works? -3 and a -1. Both have to be negative. A -3 times a -1 is a what? +3. A -3 and a -1 is a what? -4. Okay, so you got to think like that. That's the way you think. So again, it doesn't matter where you put these two numbers because these are both the same first terms. So -3, -1. Okay, and then you can check it and it would work out. Use the FOIL. Number four. All right, I got to do two more and then I'm done, okay? Just let me do two more. 4, x squared minus 8x minus 20. Very simple. What's the GCF? 1. What's the coefficient of x squared? Okay, think easy. We'll go directly to two binomials. What goes here in both of these first? X and x. All right, now let's think now. I need two, so I got to fill this part out. I need two numbers whose product is what? Not 20, not -20, and whose sum is what? -8. All right, now come up with some ideas. What do y'all think? Try something. 10 and 2? All right, let's try 10 and 2. 10 times 2 is a +20, so it can be -10. You see how you're trying this? All right, so you said 10, 2. That did not work. Now you're going to try -10, 2, right? -10 times a +2 is what? -20. -10 plus a +2 is what? -8. So that's the one that works. So that works. Okay? Doesn't matter where I put the -10 and the 2. No. So -10, +2. So the answer is x minus 10 times x plus 2. And again, you can FOIL it out and check it. Finally, let's do one because that's going to be important in that worksheet. Okay, number 5. One more and then we're done. X squared plus 2x plus 6. X squared plus 2x plus 6. GCF. 1. Coefficient of x squared. 1. Easy, kind. Two binomials. What goes here though? X and x, because x times x is x squared. All right, now I need two numbers whose product is what? 6, because remember, this times this gives me the last, right? So that's why we're saying 6. But the sum has to be the middle term. What's the sum? 2. So we can do the coefficient of the middle sum, the middle term. Can you tell me what two whole numbers multiply together 6, and when I add them up I get 2? You can try like 6 and 1 is 6 times 1 is 6, right? But the sum is what? 7. That didn't work. 3 and 2. 3 times 2 is what? 6, but the sum is what? 5. That did not work. Can you come up with anything? No. So what that means is this. I cannot factor this. So this is not factorable. Not factorable. Okay, that's what that means. It's not factorable. So you can learn about that, the word that I'm about to mention. So if it's not factorable, that means it is prime. So in the blank, you're going to put prime. So prime means it's not factorable. Okay? So the final worksheet will be this. So you're going to have these 10 problems right here. You don't have it yet. You have these 10 problems, but notice it says only one is what? Prime. Okay? So try working on this for Tuesday, although it's due Thursday.